Good evening, Landchop. It is I, your favorite fluffy vampire, Bluma. How we doing? How will fit? Yes, I'm always down to hear Higurashi theories. I live for that shit. I live for that shit. Always. Always throw it in Discord. I care. If no one else cares, I care. And that's the important part. Hi, Jose. Hi, Mango. Hi. Yes, we're gonna get right into it. Dude, there was a lot to unpack from last chapter. There was. May or may not have a doppelganger. Maybe. Also, kind of... Oh, there was a bug, sorry. I had to clap at it. Just at it. My cat-like instinct was just like, fuck that bug. But okay. Y'all ready for this? I'm very ready for this. The body wasn't there. The police didn't arrest me because of that, but I didn't know whether to feel happy about it. Just like Satoko had said, I failed to kill her uncle. The body wasn't there, so I was forced to conclude as much, no matter what strange natural disaster, coincidence, or miracle it might have implied. In order to free Satoko, I became a demon. And this abnormal world was my reward, yes. Metaphorically, I had fallen into the demon world. How many chapters does this one have? I believe 15, if I'm remembering right. Hold on. I remembered how to check now. Because Steam has achievements for every chapter, so I just gotta go look how many achievements there are. So, wait, we might, oh boy, 12, 13, 14. This one might actually only have 14. I was assuming 15. It looks like this one might be actually only 14. We have less time than I thought. Oopsie daisies. But if that price had been in exchange for the life of Satoko's uncle, then that would have been fine. Holy shit, shut up outside! This is an intense, stark, spooky book! Oh my god! They just gotta get home and kiss their dads on the lips. My god. Jesus Christ. That's what we get for trying to enjoy Higurashi on a good Monday night. Am I right? Good lord. Alright. Since Satoko's uncle was still alive, still shackling her to him, I needed to become a demon once again. One more time. No, as many times as it takes. I would kill that man over and over again until Satoko was liberated. Sorry about that, was looking for my dad. Ah, it's alright, it doesn't matter. If it's you, I'll let it slide. I had already awoken. I looked at the clock to see that it was early in the morning, at just about 5. It was already light outside. Once I'd hardened my resolve to become a demon again, I could feel my whole body teeming with the awakened power once more. Time wasn't an issue. No matter what, I'd do it. Nah, I'd win. I got myself up. The exhaustion from the past 2 days was completely swept away, and I didn't even feel sleepy anymore either. I slowly rose and made sure my body was moving like I wanted it to. I could feel blood flowing through each and every one of my fingers. As I got dressed, I let my mind wander and had a strange thought. These 2 days, while I've said it was for Satoko's sake, the only thing on my mind has been killing. I've said it was for Satoko, but while actually carrying out the act, I had completely forgotten about Satoko, albeit only temporary. Maybe initially it was for Satoko's sake, but now I was just a demon, killing for the sake of killing. And as a result, I'd sunk into a world fit for such a demon. Damn, this guy really determined? He is. He is. It's kind of nice. Like, I'll be real. I know what happens in the next book. I don't remember everything, though. But, I'm pretty sure this is, like, the most determined we see Keiichi. Because, like, in book 1, right, he was very much like, oh my god, I'm so paranoid. Oh my god, someone's gonna kill me. What are my friends doing? Oh my god, oh my god. And in the second one, he was like, her. But what if I dated both Sonozaki? You know, not really, but what if? Anyway, this is, like, the only time Keiichi's like, nah, I gotta do what I gotta do. It's kind of nice. Maybe it was the same for Satoshi. He resolved himself to kill his aunt, to save Satoko, become a demon, and then disappeared from the sunlit of Namizawa, vanishing into the demon world. Which meant that after all was said and done, I'd meet the same fate as him. I tried to avoid making the same mistakes, but it happened anyway. Which meant that maybe Satoshi was here. Satoshi had come to this world a year before me, so he would be here somewhere. Then, surprised, I stopped walking. Keiichi listened to Bring Me to Life once and starts being edgy. Not complaining. It's true. Facts. Guy who only listens to Bring Me to Life listens to any other metal song. This has big Evanescence vibes. I like it. Keiichi's just going to school like, crawling in my skin, these wounds they will not heal. Oh shit, there was a second set of footsteps I'd grown so used to hearing. Could you be Satoshi? The empty, lifeless air would have given me an answer. But I felt strange kind of relief that there was someone there, that Satoshi had stuck with me the whole time. Let's go, Satoshi. Once more. This time we will set Satoko free for sure. I quietly slipped out of the house so my parents wouldn't notice. If they caught me now, I'd been on my way too late for 2 days now. They'd give me a really angry talking to. I didn't have the time to allow for that to happen. Keiichi being the average Linkin Park fan. Holy shit. Oops. There we go. Today, I would put an end to it. If the dead body disappeared, then I wouldn't have to bury it. I could just burn it to ashes and then take them with me so I could kill him again every time he resurrected. I'd do it again. I'd kill him again. And this time, I'd set her free. Outside, the morning light was so beautiful as to stagger belief. I went to the storage room to find the weapons with which I could kill him for sure. Blunt or not, it didn't matter. Right now, I didn't need to care whether someone saw or if the police came. This world had gone crazy after all. A world where I'd shown up at the festival and had fun even though I wasn't there. Even if the police arrested me, I'd probably end up going right back home as if nothing had happened. Both me and that other Keiichi Maibara. Even without me, he'd fill in. I could vanish from Hinamizawa without anyone noticing. So basically, I didn't care if it was mistakenly killed. Even if I died, Keiichi Maibara would remain. After all, this isn't the world I belong in. If I was going to be killed mistakenly for Satoko's sake, then that was just part of my duty as her nini. And those desperate thoughts became serious. The morning air felt more refreshing to me, strangely enough. Oh, this one's scary. Let's go with this. It was a hatchet meant for chopping thick firewood. Its hefty steel blade was sinister, almost as though it was a tool meant for killing people. I couldn't exactly take it out in public like that, so I wrapped it up a little in some old newspaper and tossed it in the basket of my bike. Sorry for using you for evil all the time. I'll need you again today, my legs. I apologized for my bike for some reason. For the past 3 days, I've only used it for dangerous things. I've been riding this bike ever since I lived in my old town. I could walk most places I wanted to go, so I hadn't used it all that much. My mom had bought it for me and I entered a cram school, thinking it would be a convenient way for me to get to the station since it was far away. So I'd always used it to get back and forth from cram school. I'd only ever put textbooks and class materials in the front basket, too. I'd never tried to put a hatchet that I'd been using to kill someone in there. When I came to Hinamizawa, life finally felt fun. I met the best friends ever and had some of the greatest times ever. Those times might have been shattered now, but it was my greatest wish that I could get them back, even if I had to risk my life to do it. That's how fun those times had been. I killed someone, and now I was at it again, needing to kill someone. Murder was a crime. I didn't believe that people should ever think murder was okay, but still, the times I'd had were enjoyable enough for me to commit such a crime. My friends were irreplaceable, and the time spent with them a treasure. Hanging out, laughing, sometimes tricking each other, but always in a friendly way. I didn't fear committing any crime, as long as it was for the sake of taking back those times that gave my heart so much pleasure. Yes, this was a value I decided to uphold. It wasn't something I'd learned from a school teacher. It was a noble path that I chose for myself. I thought back to when I'd first come to Hinamizawa, about how on the very first day, Satoko had welcomed me via a blackboard eraser with a rock in it. That welcome really surprised the heck out of me. She would laugh, get angry, cry. She was never boring. She was obviously the most childlike one among us, but she was actually lively, full of vim and vigor, and good at meddling in other people's businesses. That went for Mion, Reina, and Rika-chan too. Wasn't Satoko the one at the center of everyone's laughing and banter? Satoko would try to act cool. Then Mion would make fun of her endlessly. Then Satoko would cry, which would put Reina in a state of ecstasy. Rika-chan would greatly delighted. And I happened to get mixed up in it. We would always fool around like that. It was lonely when someone wasn't around, but if I had to name one for whom it was the worst, it would have been Satoko. Her smile was everyone's smile. Ever since she stopped smiling, so did the rest of us. And for the rest of us, not smiling was the same as dying. It was just like I was silently going to cram school every day just to maintain my unchanging test scores. So basically, we were nothing when she wasn't smiling. She was full of hot air, but she was our princess, cute and unhateable. In that case, I was her knight, searching for the dragon's castle in order to win her smile back. Knights, of course, use swords. The awesome two-handed kind. I'm probably the only knight in the history of the world to be taking someone on with a thick, rusty hatchet. Then I saw an old woman on the ridge of the field waving at me. Oh my! Keiichi-kun! Out for a morning ride, I see. Good morning! I actually waved back in a refreshing way. Should I really have been feeling so happy? Waving like that? Oh, hi! Oh shit, I didn't even know. Risu, hi, I'm sorry. Dude, I didn't see you come in. You're so sneaky. Katana, a double-handed sword. Nah. Great sword mains go brrr. Big number, make the brain go brrr. Satoko's house would be right past the road, going beyond the rice paddies. The cicadas had woken up too, and the next thing I knew, I was the audience to their daily chorus. Claymore go brrr, oh yeah, facts. I gave myself a hit or two in the head and drove away my merry morning mood. You've been here for a while. I'm sorry. I just noticed that was you saying the epic guitar riffs. I'm sorry. Hatchet go brrr. Yeah, it's true. I took a deep breath, then tilted my head back, quelling all my pointless excitement. The body wasn't there. Its absence either meant my killing him had been an illusion, or that I'd killed him and he'd risen from the dead. I was at the festival, then maybe I should have considered it an illusion. Coach probably thought that way, which is why he treated me like a lunatic. Oh, that's right! The doctor's still probably looking for him. Shit! Wait, didn't the other messages go through? Oh boy. No, the first one I see for you is epic guitar riff, and then katana better than a double-handed sword. But it being an illusion was just impossible. I killed him without a doubt. Without a doubt. If I had been an illusion, then that would make all of Hinamizawa I was in right now an illusion. If that was the case, then here's how it would end up. I was actually in a vegetative state due to a traffic accident, and I was currently dreaming in a hospital bed about how great it would have been to spend time with my friends in the rice paddies like these. That was a terrifying thought, though. Bro, I just typed the Last Resort lyrics from Papa Roach. Oh, well, I guess YouTube didn't like that. It was about to copyright bonk you just for typing it out, bro. If this wasn't an illusion, then the only possible answer was that he'd been resurrected. It would make him a literal monster. But if he was such a monster, then I was no less than a monster myself. I didn't hesitate to kill someone, and I could even manipulate curses. Takano-san had died probably because I'd cursed her. Or maybe that was a little much. If Coach and Oishi died too, like I'd cursed them to yesterday, then I'd believe it. Shitbook. Always couldn't. Anyways, I couldn't make it from the education. Ah, got you. I set my bicycle aside and went and take a look. His motorbike wasn't there. Of course it wasn't. I sent it down to hell that night, throwing it into the Onikakushi swamp. Sorry for asking. Did I get it right that each book we focus and get to learn more about mainly one character in each book? Like the second book is about the twins, and this one I presume is about Satoko? Yes, correct. Book 1 was... I could argue that it's just Keiichi. Like, book 1, like the first little message you get when you open up book 1, I don't even know if I showed it on stream, if I can be real. Like, book 1, when you open up, it literally just has this opening crawl that says, Higurashi is like, it's a bit of a ride. It's a long one. Settle in, get comfy. We're making this first book free so you can see what it's like living in Hinamizawa with your friends. Just read and don't think too hard. So, I don't know, you could argue that book 1 is just Keiichi and you're getting to know Keiichi. You could also see it as that is Reina's book. I hesitate to say that it's Reina's book because I know for a fact she gets another arc. I just don't know which book it's in. Okay, edgy Keiichi, can you stop edgy? Be listening, not feeling well, lots of stuff been happening, so yeah. Oh, no worries, Risu, no worries. Appreciate you lurking. Wait, that's not what I mean. Nah, you said it. It's out there. It's on the internet now. Any matter wants Keiichi to stop edging him. So yeah, these books, the first however many books, I don't know if it's 6 or 7. Maybe it's just 6. 5, 6, 7. I don't know. They will each focus on a character and give you an insight as to each arc, presenting you with a question. Like, the question in the first book was, what happened to Reina and Mion? Like, why did Keiichi kill them? Book 2 was, how was Mion dead when we saw her a week later? And we'll get the question at the end of this one. But yeah. I can imagine Keiichi edgy mode listening to Papa Roach. I can too. Very, very accurate. And so then once we get all of our questions, we're going to read the next book, but it'll be from somebody else's perspective so we can get the answers to those questions. And then by the end we read all the answers. I think there's like another 1 or 2 books that wrap up the story, if I'm recalling right. Yeah, once we get past the questioning arc books, though, like these first few, 5, 6, however many, my knowledge on the novels themselves becomes a little bit less, and so I'm relying heavily on what I remember from the anime. And the anime had it divvied up. Like, there was the answers, the questions, or no, there was the questions, then the answers, and then there was like a season or 2 of wrap-up. I hope that answers your question. I babbled a little bit. My bad. Okay. Or maybe, just like how the corpse wasn't there, maybe the motorbike didn't get thrown into the swamp either. The fact his bike wasn't here might have been because he had gone into town and hadn't come back, not necessarily because I'd thrown it into the swamp. If her uncle wasn't around, then that was convenient on its own. Then I would just show myself in, then wait for him to return, sharpening my hatchet. If he was there, forgotten sensations came back to my gut. A feeling of tension rose within me. The sensation was like poison, dulling my actions, but it could also be a trigger to allow me to awaken my superhuman otherworldly self. I held the hatchet, still wrapped in newspaper. Its weight in my hands was profound, sinister, and reliable. I didn't know what time it was without a clock, but it was probably still a little before 7. Satoko would probably be awake, preparing breakfast and her lunch. But her uncle would probably still be swallowing in indolence? A guy like him would have stayed up late drinking and probably always slept until noon. I considered ringing the doorbell and having Satoko open the door for me, but if her uncle woke up at the sound, I'd waste my chance of him still being asleep. If Satoko saw me sneaking inside without ringing the doorbell, she'd be surprised. If I ran into her, what would I say? I've come to kill your uncle for you, so stay quiet. No, I couldn't do that. That would be like making Satoko responsible for his death. Be quiet and go wait outside. Maybe that would do it. How would Satoko react to that? She would probably try to get me to give up on killing him. I would have to lie somehow to get her to go outside. Satoko didn't need to know that a murder was going to occur in this house. I couldn't quite think of a good lie to tell her, but I couldn't do much just standing around like this. I made up my mind and grabbed the doorknob, then slowly turned it and pulled. It wasn't locked. The gap between the door and the wall steadily grew larger. The chain wasn't even on. The oppressive smell of life in Satoko's house hit me. At the entrance, there were a few pairs of shoes and sandals. I couldn't tell whether he was here or not just by looking at them. I could hear a television somewhere. The television was in a messy dining room. There was food scattered about the table, giving off an impression decidedly different than the happy family mealtime. Meals were for eating food while thanking the person for making it, meaning whatever occurred at this dining room wasn't a meal. Nobody in sight. No sign of anyone either. But with the television on, he must have been close. Could he have been anticipating my coming and be hiding, waiting for me? The tension I felt was so thick, so tight I might thought it would choke me. The newspaper wrapping in the hatchet thick blade didn't hamper its power at all. Took a picture of my room. Goddamn. Jesus Christ, antimatter. What is all... Pills? I tightened my grip on it, then very carefully took a look around. Where had those peaceful feelings from before I arrived here gone? Even the sound of sweat bubbling up on my brow got on my nerves. And then, I looked at the table and realized something. This wasn't breakfast. The grains of boiled rice were all hard and dried up. Then, was it last night's dinner? I left the dining room, keeping vigilant. Went down the hallway and found the stairs to the second floor. When that man was playing with his friends, he looked out the second-story window. It was highly possible that that room was his own, and that he slept there. I tiptoed up the edge of the stairs, quietly climbing, without making a sound. I couldn't hear any kind of snoring. I didn't hear anything up there. I went through a few rooms slowly and quietly, opening the paper doors, checking inside. But I still couldn't find anyone around. To search more efficiently, I got down on the floor and pressed my right ear to it. I could hear the television in the dining room, and a low hum, perhaps boiling water. It was then that I started to harbor some feelings of suspicion. This house wasn't right. It seemed like people had been here since the TV was on, but it wasn't normal for nobody to be around this early in the morning. Oh shit, the cat. I silently descended the stairs and went back to the dining room. God damn it. I looked at the food scattered about. Completely dried up rice. God damn. Yeah, they're onto us. Scatter! I looked at the food scattered about. Completely dried up rice, an overturned bowl of miso soup, the package for a side dish bought at the supermarket. I could tell Satoko had definitely been the one who made this. The food was far from Mion's perfection or Reina's gentleness, but it was sincere. Judging by how she cooked for me at my house, and from the type of amount of side dishes, I deduced the meal was from last night. The number stamped into the food package read 83620, June 20th, 1983. They found us, hide the donuts. Oh shit. That was yesterday. And there was food for two. Which meant that this was last night's dinner, and Satoko's uncle would have been there then. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't even think about saying the word impossible again. Anyway, her uncle was here last night. That much was the truth. He had found fault in Satoko's food, thrown the bowl of miso soup, and flung the rest everywhere. Hidden deep within my feelings of calm and composure was a lit flame of anger and a curse. Should I have ever shown this man any mercy? Bump. I heard the sound again, the one from before, like a water boiler. Where was it coming from? The first floor? But where? The bathroom, maybe. I could hear the noise coming from the other side of the frosted glass at the far end of the changing room. It had to have been sound of water boiler from the bath. Steam was enroaching the glass door, and the heat from it was leaking into the changing room where I was standing. My misgivings deepened. People didn't normally take a bath this early in the morning. If one did, then it would mean that in this house, time had been stopped ever since some moment last night. Whistle, whistle, whistle. Was it being reheated? The water boiler in the bathroom had been active this whole time. I checked in the clothing basket, and I saw Satoko's familiar uniform stuffed in it. The uniform had stains of dried rice stuck to it, certainly not something she would wear today. It was probably from the miso soup at the dinner table yesterday. I looked hard at the frosted glass, but I couldn't see anything through all the steam. And then, an electric surge ran through my mind, and a terrible premonition came over me. Could she? She couldn't possibly have been in there since last night. That would be impossible. But no, in Hinamizawa right now, nothing was impossible. I gulped audibly, and then quietly pulled aside the glass door. Hot, steaming air burst out in the slight opening. The fan wasn't on in the changing room, so it went completely white with steam. Just as the hot vapor poured into the changing room, cooler air also flowed into the room with the bath. And I just heard, due to being hit by the air, a very weak moan. That was all I needed to know who it was. Satoko! No answer. Satoko was in the bathtub, surrounded by a thick layer of rising steam. The top half of her body was leaning over the edge of the tub, and she was passed out. The water boiler kept on making a whistling noise, as if it was angered. I could see the gas flame through the small window, but it was roaring at full force, completely blue. Satoko's entire body was boiled red and flaccid as though her bones had melted away. She was almost like a doll as she laid there unconscious. I wasn't sure how many seconds passed as I stared at it, completely baffled. I came back to my senses and promptly shut off the boiler. Then I dragged Satoko's small body out of the bathtub. The water in it was as hot as the water in a public bath. Was she in the boiling water for the entire night? She'll die! She'll die! Satoko's body was lighter than I expected as I laid her on the floor and wrapped her in a towel. I went back into the bathroom and opened up the vent, creating a path for the cool breeze to come through. Upon the breeze hitting her, Satoko moaned again. "It'll be all right, Satoko. It's me, Keiichi. Keiichi. Can you hear me?
Keiichi-san.
Satoko recognized me and muttered a response, but I couldn't really tell what she was saying. Her eyes were muddy and unfocused. I could tell she wasn't completely conscious. Upon a closer inspection, her limbs and waist were twitching slightly. This was way worse than a normal overheating. This was dangerous. Didn't they call this heat stroke? Think, what would the teacher do if a girl passed out in the middle of the summer during a marathon in gym class or something? I turned the water faucet in the kitchen all the way on and soaked a towel in it. Then I took the cold towel back and pressed it to Satoko's forehead. Satoko reacted harshly to the coolness and let out a muffled voice. For burns, right, you would soak the burn spot under running water. Then I could run cool water on the shower and cool her off like that? No, if that was sudden, it wouldn't be good for her heart. She'd go into shock. I think I read that once before. This was about as much nursing as I could possibly give her. Anything more than this would be too much for the likes of an amateur. What happened, Satoko? You're all right now. Your Nini will save you for sure. 5,039. 540. Oh shit, that was Satoko talking.
540.
What was Satoko reciting under her breath? I brought my ear to her mouth for a better makeout of her mysterious spell-like words as she kept saying. And at that moment, I understood what they were for. Satoko, you're counting? Why? People tell little kids in the bath to count to 100 a lot, right? Satoko was counting like that. But 5,039? You moron. How long were you supposed to count in your own bathtub?
10,000.
I doubted my ears and doubted her common sense. 10,000? You freaking idiot. What kind of dumbass can count to 10,000? There's no way you could do that. You'd boil to death before you got that far. Why were you...
My uncle.
Last night, her uncle threw into a rage at the dinner table she'd made, saying it stunk and was inaudible. Satoko didn't understand what on earth he meant. It wasn't much different than what she usually made for him. Maybe he hated the smell of the pickled vegetables she'd brought in particular. Her uncle then decided the stink was originating from Satoko and shouted at her she never ever took baths. And then he put Satoko in the boiling water, told her not to come out until she had counted to... I'll kill you. And then he screamed, but I won't do that to you guys. I'm not gonna scream. I snapped and exploded. Raising the newspaper-wrapped hatchet, I stampeded through the house. I searched for anything, traces, signs, smells, vibrations, heartbeats. With a war cry, I raced up the stairs with such force I could have stomped a hole through them. Then I found the futon in the room I thought to be her uncle's, and well aware he wasn't sleeping in it, I bashed it with the hatchet. Did he run into the closet? I'll bust the entire closet down, door and all. And if he's not there, maybe there's a second door. Any switches or levers in the walls here. I smashed into the wall after the wall with the hatchet, crushing them. What kind of dumbass counts to 10,000? Oh, Mr. Beast. Jesus Christ. Dust rose into the air, and broken pieces scattered about the floor. I smashed all the glass windows too for good measure. After I destroyed everything beyond recognition in her uncle's room, my reason finally kicked in and suppressed my emotions. Anyway, her uncle wasn't in the house right now. I'd have to leave killing him until later. Right now, I had to do something about Satoko. I went back to the changing room. Satoko was still lying, limp on the floor. There was nothing more than an amateur like me could do for her. I needed to take her to the clinic. Coach had treated me like a lunatic yesterday and tried to lock me up in the mental hospital. I never wanted to see his damn face again. But I still needed to go to the infirmary one more time. I needed to have a doctor look at Satoko. I thought about putting her in the dirty uniform lying in that basket. I had no experience dressing someone, so it'd be pretty difficult. Shit. I don't have time to be wasting here. I eventually gave up on clothing her and decided to carry her in a bath towel. The clinic was close to Satoko's house. It would be way faster to carry her there than to call 119 and get an ambulance. I threw the biggest towel I could find over her and prompted her to stand. Can you stand? I'll carry you over to the clinic.
Thank you.
Her words sounded clearer than before. She was starting to come back. I cried tears of relief just knowing she'd improved even a little bit. Satoko turned over. She was lying on her face, and then put up a weak struggle to get up on a knee. I smoothly swept her up and put her on my back. The towel I put on her seemed like it was about to fall off. The towel...
It hurts.
We'll be there soon. It won't be long, so stay strong. It didn't hurt one bit to carry Satoko. She was so light. Too light. The lightness actually made me uneasy. Outside, it had gotten hotter, as though eager to attack Satoko. Fucking cicadas. Why did it have to choose this morning to get so hot out? I didn't have time to swear at him. The clinic was this way. Hoisting Satoko on my back, I broke into a trot. Halfway point! Allegedly. The hilly road to the clinic, with which I had never had difficulties before, was now torturous. Big beads of sweat formed on my brow, and at some point my breath had grown faint. The hatchet in my belt was heavy and made it hard to walk. I considered leaving it, but I couldn't let it go. At least not while Satoko's uncle was still breathing. The signboard for the Erie Clinic came into sight, but I quickly noticed something was odd, so I stopped. Several red revolving lights were flashing at the clinic. Hold up. 3 police cars were parked in the parking lot with their lights on. There didn't need to be much else to inform me something had happened. I didn't want to see Coach, so I'd planned to leave Satoko in the clinic waiting room and give the receptionist a message. But with that police officer Oishi here, I couldn't go inside so carelessly. I didn't think they'd draw it. It's fine, right? It's fine. She's covered. Yeah.
What's going on? Why are there so many police cars?
I gently put Satoko down in the shade of the thicket. I don't know. I'll go see what happens, so stay here for a moment. Dude, why is the music getting louder and louder? I can't even, think. Shit. Well, we're going home, boys. No, it's fine. It's fine.
leaving a lady in a place like this wearing nothing but a bath towel. Simply unforgivable.
If you can still fire off those insults, you'll be fine. I'll be right back, I added, getting to my feet. Cautious of my surroundings, I hid myself behind a car and got closer to the officers grouped up at the clinic's entrance. I overheard an officer wearing a necktie, probably their leader, and a white-robed doctor having a discussion about something. The doctor didn't seem to be Coach. It was one of those who had Coach told to make the tea yesterday. So you were the first one to find it, since you were the one morning duty. So then, what did it look like? He was sitting on the sofa in the head office. He looked like he was taking a nap. Not gonna lie, Keiichi's being kind of cool right now. That's what I'm saying. This is like the one book where, like, I remember him getting his shit together. This is the one arc we get to see Keiichi be cool. From my memory. Something cool might happen in the next one. Honestly, I don't really remember. I don't remember it perfectly. Not like this one. There was a jug and an empty bottle of sleep medication on his desk. So you immediately thought he had tried to commit suicide with it? What else? His high temperature and incontinence indicated severe disturbance of the consciousness. It seemed like a typical case of sleeping pill poisoning, so I immediately began to treat him. Without calling the police or an ambulance? This is a hospital, and I'm a doctor. Since his life was in danger, it's my job to treat him at once. Yes, I understand. Okay. What else? His breathing was in disarray, so I put him on a respirator. Respirator. I also administered breathing stimulants. It had no effect, so I prepared a medical ventilator and... Right. So in other words, you did what you could, but it wasn't enough. That's it, right? You reported this as soon as he died? Yes. It was very unfortunate that we were unable to save him. Just then, a radio in one of the police cars started to buzz, producing a broken mechanical voice.
This is HQ. This is HQ. Komiyamina-san. Can you hear me? Over.
Hello. This is Komiyama. We've come up with something. It looks like he committed suicide with sleeping pills. No notes or anything.
Suicide?
Oh, sorry. Suicide? What the heck are they talking about? Someone had committed suicide at the clinic? But who? I wished Takano-san dead, and she died the next day. And yesterday I wished Coach was dead. Then, could he have... Did he use sleeping medication regularly? I don't really know. Did he normally complain that he was tired or that he wanted to die? Well, Irie-sensei was normally so well himself. He never acted like that. So I was right. Irie-sensei. They were talking about Coach. Coach killed himself. Why would he do that? There couldn't have been any reason he wanted to die. The only reason that came to mind was that I wanted him dead. This world was insane. If I wanted someone dead, they'd die. That was the kind of world this was. Then, what about Oishi? What happened to him? If people really died because I wanted them to, then something should have happened to him too. I've sent you back up. The chief wants you to leave the rest to them and get back to searching for Oishi's car. Yes, sir. Please excuse me then. It looks like we're getting relieved here, so please leave everything as it is right now. Keiichi finally getting that main character power. Facts, bro. Facts. The officers nodded and split up into the patrol cars. Did they just say, searching for Oishi's car? Searching for his car? That meant he had gone missing. Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi. When I wished for it, the very next day they disappeared. No matter how angry you were when you said you wished someone was dead, it didn't normally happen. Everyone knew just wishing for it wouldn't make them dead, and that's why people could utter such curses so lightly. But the curses I uttered were being granted. At the time, I hadn't even been walking in yet. Tap. I heard a footstep. And it wasn't only one this time. Tap, tap. They came from behind. And they stood right behind me, reaching a hand for my shoulder.
Would you mind telling me what's going on?
Ugh! Satoko! Don't scare me like that.
I'm the scared one here. I'd prefer it if you didn't shout so suddenly.
It was Satoko. Her eyes were still unstable and unfocused, but she seemed to be able to at least walk on her own now. She looked far better now compared to her earlier exhausted state. How do you feel? Are you better?
My head still hurts, but I can't stay outside looking like this forever.
She gave a smile, a show of courage, and her legs were still shaky. Plot armor at its finest, oh boy. I wonder if Keiichi would curse himself at the end of this book. Ooh, that's a cool idea. He might be with all this
Anyway, what on earth is going on?
From what I just heard the police talking about, Coach apparently committed suicide. Satoko was at a loss for words. Her face grew paler and paler, and I could tell she was doubting her own ears.
Keiichi-san, is that true? I didn't mishear you?
That's what I heard. They said Irie-sensei killed himself with sleeping pills. Satoko went down to her knees and broke out in tears.
It can't be. Coach, he would never, ever kill himself.
As I watched Satoko crying and clawing at the grass, I felt myself trapped by guilt and remorse. I got so angry that Coach was treating me like a madman yesterday, that he'd betrayed me, that I'd thought he'd be better off dead. But even Coach, who to me deserved to die, still must have had people who loved and respected him. Like Satoko here. In my selfish, egotistical anger, I wished for his death and it was granted. And now Satoko was crying hysterically as a result. The guilt tore at my heart. It worked myself up into a murder for Satoko's sake. I decided I wanted Satoko to be happy. But was that really all it took? Murder meant taking someone's life. It meant making everyone attached to that person sad. In Satoko's uncle's case, of course, nobody would be sad. So I didn't feel any sense of guilt at all. But Coach's death was different. I had wanted to make Satoko happy, and that had resulted in me inflicting a deep sadness upon her, hadn't it? But Coach killed himself. It wasn't my... Satoko still hadn't stopped crying, but she seemed to be a little calmer now. Wiping her tears, she stood up.
I'm sorry.
And the only thing I could think of was to say to her was an apology.
Why are you apologizing?
Well, yesterday I got into a fight with Coach. And I thought that I wanted him to die. I wanted it so he really... Satoko looked at me dubiously for a few moments. Eventually her expression softened as she interpreted my words in her own way.
It wasn't your fault, Keiichi-san. Coach was an adult too. He felt like there was something he had to give his life for, and chose to do so after a lot of worrying and suffering. It's not anyone's fault.
She smiled a little, trying to comfort me.
I do not want to be naked forever. I want some clothes.
Are you okay? Shouldn't you get someone to look at the clinic to look at you? Or...
I won't die from putting on clothes before going.
Satoko readjusted her bath towel and started back along the path. Her stride was wobbly, and it didn't look like she'd recovered as much as she let on. At first, Satoko tried to go back home, but it was the time of the morning when people were going to school and to work, so after seeing people walking around, she thought better of it. She must have been pretty embarrassed wearing only a towel.
I'm gonna go to Rika's house. My clothes should still be there. What's wrong, Keiichi-san?
Satoko noticed how I was hanging my head, and spoke to me.
Despite how he might have come off, Coach wasn't a doll, right? He would certainly not have killed himself after a petty fight with you, Keiichi-san. Please stop blaming yourself.
At first I thought it was coincidence, but with 3 people in a row now, I couldn't discard the possibility. There is no such thing as impossible in this world. These past few days haven't made any sense.
What hasn't?
Satoko seemed to be having trouble breathing, but she still tried to listen to what I had to say. At the Watsunagashi festival, the day before last, you went home on the way there, right? And I went there and had a lot of fun.
So it would seem. I do apologize for getting so upset about it.
Satoko remembered how she blew up at me in the classroom yesterday and bowed to me a little. If I said I actually didn't go to the festival at all, would you believe me? Satoko looked at me, confused. She couldn't help it, of course.
Of course I wouldn't believe you. What are you on about?
You wouldn't, right? I don't believe it either. I mean, I didn't go to the festival, but everyone's saying I hung out with them there. Nobody would believe it, right?
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Ever since the night of Watsunagashi, everything's been messed up. These weird footsteps suddenly started following me everywhere. The blood drained from Satoko's expression.
Footsteps following you?
Yeah. I thought it was just my imagination at first, but they stayed with me. They're probably still here. I can't tell them apart now because of your footsteps, though. Satoko took a long and hard look at me. Maybe she was doubting my sanity. Coach did the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't he, after telling him all this? The more I thought about it, the more I was unable to endure the feeling that my hatred for Coach had been meaningless. On the day of Watsunagashi, I didn't go. I was doing something else. The whole time. I wasn't sleeping or unconscious or anything. So it's not possible that I walked to the festival in my sleep and forgot about it afterwards.
That is quite strange. Then, how were you at the festival?
That's what I mean. I didn't go to the festival. No. I can't let myself get emotional. If I get agitated now, that'd be like proving that there's something wrong with my head. Sorry. Well, nobody believes me, so, yeah.
If that is what you say, Keiichi-san, then I will believe you. Then what?
That night, I saw Takano-san, and it felt like she was looking down on me. So I made a wish. A wish that she would die.
Takano-san does have that sort of air about her, doesn't she? I cannot say that I don't understand how you feel.
Did you know that Takano-san died? It happened yesterday. Apparently she was burned alive somewhere.
Is that true? She died?
I wished for her to die, and the next day she was dead. And Oishi from the police, too. Do you know him? That annoying and fat detective guy? Satoko nodded a little. I heard from the police earlier, but apparently he went missing. And yesterday, actually, I wished that he would die.
Is all this true?
I'm not lying. I don't want to believe it either, but it's true. Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi. I wanted them dead. And then they really died. Did Keiichi hear the footsteps while having some business with the uncle? Trying to think of when exactly he started saying he heard them. I think he started hearing the footsteps when he decided he would kill the uncle. So a few days before Watsunagashi, he started hearing footsteps. And then he killed the uncle on Watsunagashi. And now the footsteps are getting louder, he's saying. For a little while, Satoko was at a loss. A long silence ensued.
What a scary story. I should be sure not to get on your bad side, Keiichi-san.
And that's not all. There's something even stranger. It's about your uncle. I would rather... Oh, sorry.
I would rather you not talk about my uncle.
He was there yesterday, right? At your house?
Can we please stop talking about him? I don't want to.
It's impossible. He couldn't have been there.
I said stop talking about him. No. No.
That man couldn't have been there after the night of Watsunagashi because I...
No! No more, please. No more about that man.
I killed him with my own hands. Even the cicadas stopped crying. Her face was streaked with tears, and it stiffened even more as she looked at me in disbelief. On the night of Watsunagashi Festival, I killed your uncle, so it's impossible that he would have come back home. But still, he went back, and last night he found fault with the dinner you made him, yelled all sorts of things at you, and then basically boiled you in the bathtub. That couldn't possibly have happened. So I wanted to make sure that I'd actually killed him, so yesterday I went to go dig up the corpse I had buried. But the body wasn't there. Is that even possible? I killed him for sure, but there was no body. Poor Satoko, right? And he went home like nothing happened. Home to you, and that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? Satoko's entire body stiffened. She was shrinking away, like there was someone in front of her about to hurt her. You probably think I've gone a little crazy, don't you? I don't blame you. I can't believe it myself.
Keiichi-san, I think you are very confused after all the people you wished were dead coincidentally died. You're just in shock at Coach's suicide, and you're really upset. I think you should stay home from school today and rest. I'll be fine, so please take care of yourself.
Satoko spoke like she understood me, but she also told me to go home. I could see the revulsion in her face, and knew that she didn't want to be around me anymore. Once I show you to the clinic, I'll go home. Your legs are still shaky, aren't they? It would be terrible if you collapsed halfway there.
Really, I'm fine now. I do not want to expose my naked self to a man any more than this.
She wobbled up the shrine steps, looking like she was about to fall. I immediately ran up to her and helped her stay on her feet. But then Satoko promptly jumped away from me. The outright rejection hurt a lot. Once she got to the top of the stairs, her breathing was ragged, and she wasn't even looking at me. At this point, I was being ignored. But it was more like she didn't want to have anything to do with me. It really was a feeling of rejection. Could the footsteps be somehow related to the doppelgangers? An interesting idea. Call it. And that hurt my heart more than any blade could have. This was the path I chose for her sake. To be treated like this at the end of it all was just so saddening. Don't be naive, Keiichi Maibara. You never wanted to be repaid in the first place. You didn't do it so that Satoko would thank you. You did it so Satoko would be happy. And that was what led to this ending. Rika-chan's house was a disaster prevention storehouse used by the town council. If you went past it a little further through the shrine grounds, you'd apparently reach the back of the assembly hall. Satoko was heading there, walking quickly, the gravel under her feet crunching as she went. Did she want to get there as soon as possible, or did she want to run away? I couldn't tell. And then, I heard the vigorous sound of wings flapping. I turned around and I saw a crow. I hadn't seen many crows since coming to Hinamizawa. I saw them a lot in my old town, though. On garbage day, they'd flock to the trash collection points, peck through the bags with their beaks, drag out the contents, and have a feast. As I was remembering that, I saw a few crows flocking around the shrine's donation box. And I thought how terrible it was for someone to leave garbage bag in a place like that. The cicadas quieted. Breathing stopped. Thoughts ceased. Each time, even time, came to a halt. I ran over to where the crows were flocking. I ran there in order to drive a horrible idea out of my mind. I definitely hadn't wanted this. There's no way I would ever wish for this, even by mistake. This was not. When they noticed my vicious approach, the crows all flapped upwards, fleeing into the sky. When the crows' big black bodies flew away, they exposed the garbage bag. He screams. I'm sorry, I can't scream. I'm too nervous to do that. But he screamed, okay? What had I seen there? The scream had escaped my throat before I understood what I was looking at. What was this? Satoko came over as well, realizing something had happened. And she looked over my shoulder. Then she screamed as well. This wasn't... The garbage bag was crimson, dyed in fresh blood. Enough of this stupid roundabout way of saying it. That's right, yes, it was Rika-chan, our friend, Satoko's best friend. Always easygoing, clever as a cat, but so cute you couldn't hate her. Our friend, Rika-chan, she was... Rika-chan was stark naked. She was face up, limbs sprawled. Her eyes were like glass, just staring up into the sky. And... Rika! Satoko broke down, crying on the spot, and yet she still couldn't approach her friend's remains. The crows had gotten through the garbage bag and they dragged out an apple peel and spread it all over. No, crows, they wouldn't do this. On the spot, I started vomiting. The sour taste became a bitter one as I threw up over and over again. Rika-chan, Her stomach was cut wide open vertically, completely open. Rika! He screamed again. Crows couldn't have done this. And from her open stomach, her organs, her bowels were dragged out like children's toys left all over the floor. That unbelievable sight induced oxygen deprivation in my brain. Color left my vision, a pounding headache, dizzy, and I wanted to vomit. It was like a nightmarish remains of a ceremonial killing. Someone, somewhere had killed Rika-chan, brought her here, laid her here with her limbs sprawled out, and then cut open her stomach and dragged out her intestines. Red and pink viscera were sticking out of her gut, and her intestines were scattered in every direction like it had been fun. The entire ground was covered in an ocean of red and black. A few of the crows had hopped around inside that ocean. They walked through the sea of blood, leaving bloody footprints. In those footprints, there were several still left on Rika-chan's body. Those sinister prints made it seem even more like a bizarre ritual killing. I may have wished for Takano-san and Coach and Oshi to die, but I didn't remember ever wishing for Rika-chan's death. Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I stumbled backwards, then stepped on a newspaper. A newspaper? In a place like this? The newspaper was what was covering my hatchet. I had kept it wrapped up and on my belt in order to carry Satoko, and that newspaper had fallen off. Shh, don't scare me like that. I bent down to pick it up, and then Satoko looked at me with such disbelief that I'd never seen and froze. She was looking straight at me, at the hatchet on my belt. Calm down, Satoko. This isn't what it looks like. Satoko, trembling madly, backed away. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't. Murderer. She didn't care at all that she was exposing herself through the towel. She just trembled and tried to step back from the demon that was in front of her. Satoko, please calm down. Please, just relax. Satoko, no. Screaming weakly, Satoko began to run unsteadily. Run. Away, that is. Wait! Please wait, Satoko! You're wrong! That's not it! The way she ran away, it was so weak and so slow. So if I wanted to go after her, I could have caught up. But if I tried to grab Satoko's shoulder or something right now, she might actually go crazy. Oh, there goes my breakfast. Rip. Yep. We're gonna try not to die in the game. Challenge impossible. So I had to follow her and try to clear this up.
You killed Takano-san and Coach and Oishi-san, didn't you? You killed my uncle, and then you killed Rika. You murderer!
No! It wasn't me! I didn't kill her!
What are you saying? You just said it yourself, did you not? You wanted them to die, and then everyone died, didn't they?
Well, no. Just wishing that they were dead. That couldn't...
You don't even remember what you did you? How can I trust a person like you? Didn't your memory of killing them just slip your mind?
No.
Maybe you're only pretending not to remember. Besides, what's that hatchet for? Try explaining that.
It's for...
See? Geiji-san.
You
are a killer, aren't you? Why did you do it? You were a little mean, but you were fun and kind. And once, I even thought you might be my real Nini. Why did you turn into this?
I might have been able to slowly answer each one of Satoko's questions at a time, but in this situation, explaining my innocence in such a short period of time was impossible. I mean, I didn't even know if I was really innocent anyway. At the very least, I killed Satoko's uncle. There was no body, but I killed him. Without a doubt. At that point, I was far from innocent. And I wished for Takano-san, Coach, and Oshi were dead. And that curse of mine was granted. When I wished for Takano-san to die, I didn't think of it anything more than just a normal thing you'd say to someone you didn't like. But then she actually did die, and I realized that if I wanted people to die, they would. And hoping it would happen again, I cursed Coach and Oshi the same fate. So, even ignoring Takano-san's death, Coach's and Oshi's were completely premeditated crimes. Was I a killer, just like Satoko said? Was I unable to distinguish between illusion and reality? It turned into a demon without remembering it? Becoming a killer who carried out Oyashiro-sama's curse. No, that couldn't be. It was impossible. Damn it! The very word impossible was impossible in Hinamizawa right now. How many freaking times had I said that word in these past 3 days? Satoko had started crying again and was walking unsteadily. At first, it felt like she was still running, but now, it was like she was walking away crying from someone bullying her. Why? Why did things turn out this way? Why? Why? There is an answer to that I wanted to know too. Why? Why had it turned out like this?
After Nini went away, I was lonely for so long. But then Keiichi-san transferred into our school and everyone was happy again. It was fun again. Every day was beautiful.
Yeah, she was right. Those days were bright and beautiful. And yet, after that, Satoko and I shouted the exact same thing. How did it turn out like this? The cicadas were sneering at the spectacle of our strange game of tag. Oh, shut up, shut up, shut up. Eventually, I heard the murmuring of a stream. The forest parted, and the suspension bridge appeared. Satoko was crossing dangerously, wobbling as though she might fall at any moment. And when I stepped onto the bridge, it swayed like a lot, causing Satoko to stagger and fall on the spot. Satoko, are you okay?
Don't come near me! You murderer!
Satoko shouted, her hatred very clear. It was sad. If words could cut, then this warmth flowing from my eyes would have been a blood for sure.
Why did you turn out this way? Keiichi-san, I really, really liked you.
I wanted to go up to her and give her a hand, but the distance between us was uncrossable. If I got any closer, Satoko would start shouting again, and say things that would hurt me deeply again. So I couldn't approach any closer than this. Satoko, I don't know how things turned out like this either. But I can say this. I wasn't the one who killed Rika-chan. At least that is true.
Please stop being so absurd. How do you expect me to believe anything someone who can't even rely on his own memories has to say?
I tightened my hands into fists. This was mortifying. I wasn't crazy. Hinamizawa was crazy. ever since I wandered into it, lost on that one night. This insane world, where I was at the festival when I wasn't, and the uncle I killed was alive. Where death would come just by wishing for it. It was this world's fault. Mion and Reina started acting strangely, like they were possessed by something too. And Coach wouldn't believe anything I had to say. And even Satoko, who I should have protected, was yelling at me like this. Was the price for killing a man supposed to be this high? Was I really going to be forced to stay in such a bitter world? I did the right thing. At least I wanted to. So then, why? I hated it. Every time I asked why, the days Satoko and I enjoyed in peace went so wrong. Satoko, please believe me. I'm not a murderer.
Then what is that hatchet for? Can you give me a convincing explanation for that?
Is this hatchet scaring you? Okay, I'll throw it away. That's what you want, right? Satoko didn't nod, but she seemed to be in an agreement with that proposition. I clumsily took the hatchet off my belt, then dropped it over the side of the bridge into the stream below. There, it's gone. Now, you'll listen to me, right?
You think I'll let my guard down? Just because you got rid of your weapon? Keiichi-san, you're strong. It would be so easy for you to just strangle me with your bare hands.
Like hell I would ever want to kill Satoko. You idiot. Then, what should I do? Should I put my hands on my head?
Yes, why don't you? Please put your hands on your head and face the other way.
It was a cunning plan, much like the one she'd used during club activities. Putting my hands on my head and turning away would mean I couldn't attack her so very easily. I immediately acquiesced to her request, since it would make her feel better. Is this alright? Please listen to what I have to say. Satoko stood up, then carefully approached me from behind. And then, she actually came right up behind me. She was so close, and yet I was so sad that I wasn't allowed to turn around. Wait.
I sort of think I understand. That it isn't your fault, Keiichi-san.
Huh?
I think, probably, you have just been possessed by something evil. Until before, I thought Keiichi-san was a killer. But now I know. After looking at your eyes.
I could hear that Satoko was still crying, but her voice was gentle just the same.
Keiichi-san could never kill anyone. Something simply possessed his body and made him do evil things.
Was she speaking literally right now? Or was she trying to admonish me? I couldn't tell.
Come to think of it, maybe. Maybe they were possessed, just like Keiichi-san. At the time, I was only thinking I would be killed, so I didn't think about it. But now I understand. That was the work of something evil that possessed you.
Satoko? What are you? It was less like she was talking, and more like she was talking to herself. Like she was confessing at my back.
I understand, you know. It isn't like I haven't experienced it myself.
Satoko's voice started to become mixed with sobs. Her pained voice tore my heart, but I didn't know what Satoko was talking about.
I climbed to the top of the ritual storehouse once. It was a few years ago.
Keiichi's changing from badass to yandere. Predicting it was the doppelganger who unalived the other ones, excluding the uncle. Sadako had a demon too. Let's go. Oh my god.
Once, when Satoko was playing hide-and-seek at the shrine grounds, she climbed into the roof of the storehouse for ritual implements, which everyone said not to go near, and hid. Then, Satoko saw that she could get in through a window meant for ventilation. For Satoko, the word curse was plenty scary, but she was more curious about what was inside than in that unknown storehouse. She removed the grating on the window, which was already hanging off, slid her small body into it, and climbed down inside. It was too dark to see much, but after descending, she realized just how high up she'd been. Despite the darkness, she could see a few things around her thanks to the faint light coming in through that air window. And to her disappointment, it was just a regular old storehouse. She tried to leave, but the door was locked up tight from the outside, and it was made not to open from within. She would have to go back through the ventilation window from which she came. But that window was high on the wall, and there was no way she would be able to climb back up. Satoko desperately tried not to cry, and racked her brain thinking of a way to get up there. There were a lot of birdcage-looking things hanging from chains from the ceiling. She took the hanging chains and strung them along the wall. If she climbed up a bundle of chains, she might actually be able to manage to climb up to the ventilation window. There was nothing else she could do, so she had to try. And try she did. It was dark and creepy, and she didn't want to stay there forever. The more she thought about that, the more she panicked. She climbed the bundle of chains. Satoko could hear the clinks and clangs of everything creaking under her weight. And then, just as her hand reached the window, one of the metal fixtures she'd used to stick the chains on the wall flew off, and the chains all began to pull loudly and furiously every which way. Spurred on by the sounds behind her, she managed to get back onto the roof of the window. Because of the weight of the falling bundle of chains, the other fixtures broke. And then one of the big bird cages hanging from the ceiling fell on the floor with a huge noise. Under it was an image of a Yashiro-sama, his vessel, and the cage took off one of the arms, then trapped some other implements beneath it. It didn't take very long for her to grow scared of what she'd done. The deafening noise could be heard for the rest of the shrine grounds. A few other children heard it and gathered around. And, of course, Rika was one of them. Then Rika's father, the shrine's priest, with an angry look ran over. And then, as for what happened next, it was painful to remember. The only one who knew where Rika's parents kept the key to the ritual storehouse was Rika. So he scolded her, saying that this happened because Rika pulled a prank and hid me in there. He was very angry and menacing. Just looking at him was enough to frighten anyone. He exposed Rika's back, took a strangely shaped ritual cane or something, and struck her with it several times. Rika's words at that time, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." That pitiful voice, I still can't get it out of my head. I should have said it was me. I should have said so, to save my best friend from that false accusation, without being afraid of Rika's father's terrible temper. Rika gritted her teeth and cried at the crime she didn't remember doing. Ever since then, the world had been strange. I know. I understand. This is Oyashiro-sama's curse. His judgment for messing up the ritual storehouse and forsaking my best friend. Oyashiro-sama's
curse.
My father and mother, too. They vanished in that muddy stream. My mean aunt died, too. But then Nini, who loved me more than anyone, ran away from home. And then, Keiichi-san transferred in. And I thought I'd finally gotten my fun life back. But this time, Keiichi-san was possessed. And even Rika got killed.
There's something I heard once. Oyashiro-sama, when he really curses someone, he doesn't kill them right away. He goes in order of your closest friends, and after killing them all, he kills that person last. So, oh shit, this was all Satoko. Anyway, so Keiichi-san,
the curse got to you, too. I'm sure that Reina-san and Mion-san will be cursed next. And then they'll kill and be killed. No. No more. No!
Calm down, Satoko. There's no curse. Nobody is trying to torment you. When I turned around, I was thrust away with amazing force. Given my hands were awkwardly placed on my head, I couldn't take it, and I fall and I lost my balance. And I had been pushed not into the bridge, but to the side. Towards the stream. No, this can't be happening. As one last miracle, I was allowed to grab the cord hanging from the bridge. Far below me was the stream. We were pretty high up, and below were rocks of all sizes. If I fell, it clearly wouldn't be pretty. The entire bridge was tilting under my body weight. My frail little grip probably wouldn't last another minute before my fingers had to let go. Satoko! Satoko! I didn't understand myself what I meant by shouting her name then. Was I asking her to save me? Or was I asking why she did this? Finally, everything came back into focus and I saw Satoko. And I was surprised at what an odd expression she had. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was an expression of righteous anger, meant only for those who needed to die.
Die, you murderer! Give him back!
Give back my Nini! Give back Rika and Mommy and Keiichi-san! And she screamed. And as she screamed, she jerked the bridge to and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was going to fall anyway.
I won't lose to the likes of you. I won't lose to some stupid curse. I will never, ever lose to you. You took everyone. I will never lose to you, not ever.
Satoko, please just let me say one thing. I don't know what my face looked like at that time, but it seemed like it was enough to quell Satoko's agitation. I know that what I did isn't exactly praiseworthy. No, in fact, maybe I should never have done it at all. But I did it because I wanted you to be happy. Please, just believe that.
You... At the very, very end, you're still pretending to be Keiichi-san.
Satoko didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say. And for what had to happen at the very end like this was tragic. I won't lose to the likes of you, big brother, Satoko. Jesus. I didn't do any of this so you would praise me. If it made you happy, that was all that mattered. We were nothing. Without your smile, we were nothing. So, after I disappear, please, smile. If you can get on with your new life by my dying, then please just smile. Can't you at least promise me that?
Stop speaking! Don't use Keiichi-san's mouth like that. fall down, and die.
And those were the last words Satoko ever said to me. Those sad, tragic, and altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? My desire to make Satoko happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? And what was the mistake I had made? When did I make it? Was I the crazy one, or was it Hinamizawa? Even after all this, I thought I wasn't crazy at all. It was this eerie world that was crazy. This world I'd accidentally wandered into that one night. Because that fun world where I never doubted at all the crazy times we had as a club would go on forever. I couldn't possibly have transformed into such an abnormal world. Okay, you fall asleep. Quick question. What's your question, Reese? It would be interesting to see if Keiichi had these psycho curse expressions at some point too. Because from our perspective, he seems kind of rational, not purely insane. It's true. It's true. That fun world wouldn't have ever ended with this, with Satoko pushing me to my death. In the end, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world and disappear. Why is Satoko naked? When we went to go check and see if Uncle was dead, we went into her house. Couldn't find Uncle, but saw that she was in the bathtub with the hot water going. The uncle was trying to boil her alive in the bathtub, so we took her out of the bathtub. Keiichi could only find dirty, old, nasty clothes, so he didn't want to try and dress her in those. So he took her with just the bath towel to try and get her help. That's why she's naked. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. Oh my god. Plot? Yeah, basically plot. No. I'd probably already disappeared. Yeah, probably. On the night of Watanagashi, I'm sure that in the world I really belonged to, I had vanished that night and everyone was worried. It was laughable that I had taken this long to figure out I wasn't around anymore. Oyashiro-sama's curse on the 5th year was Satoko's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Satoko had already been freed. Maybe my friends were all lamenting my disappearance and valiantly trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen, and they would have a good time without me. Waiting for the day when I would come back. I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home. But this is what I wished for. It was my wish for Satoko's smile and my duty as her Nini. At this point, there will be nobody left to torture you. Because Satoshi and I, it took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying, toothy smile of yours. We wanted to see it one more time. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was a sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. And now, I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazed Hinamizawa. Thanks for giving me the psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you'll still allow it, I'll wish for one last thing. The death of this very world, of this crazed Hinamizawa, so that nobody would ever again have to find themselves lost here again. Okay, finished the chapter. Holy shit. Ugh. The achievement for finishing this chapter was just called Demon. You have seen the final showdown. Splash. Great chapter, right? really good one. Pachi, 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 I guess? Yay, to be continued, I guess? Well, here's the thing. I mean, we've only been going an hour and a half, but like, at the same time, I'm worried that these next few chapters are gonna be thick as fuck. So... I wonder if I can Google quick how long the chapter is. Because if it's, like, short as this, we can just read the next one. But if it's longer, I don't want to risk it. My voice kind of hurts. Alright. Oh, here we go. Let's see. First result says... Doesn't tell me anything. God damn it. I thought this was actually going to tell me the chapters. They lied to me. Yo, Muffin. Wow, she really waited till the end of the stream to notify me. Oh no. Oh no. It's true. We just finished chapter 12. I was trying to Google it to see if maybe we could get away with reading another chapter, but I'm worried it's going to be really, really thick considering how short this one was. That is my one fear right now. Thick as Bluma. You like the thickness? That's good. Yeah. Damn. Ah. Yeah, I guess I'll play it safe. We won't read another one. Kinda out of it right now, sick? Oh no. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry YouTube fucked you and you're sick. God damn. You missed a really cool chapter, it's true. We got a lot of spice. Hey, by the way, I hope you caught it. I mean, they did literally say it, but Keiichi didn't wish for him to die. He wished for this crazy Hinamizawa to die. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I don't know about you guys, you know. Who knows what'll happen, you know? Anyway. It was so hard not to say anything when you're like, I bet he's gonna wish for himself to go out. And I'm like... Or, hear me out, the exact opposite. Be vibing in the VOD squad. Hell yeah, hell yeah. His parents would go too, Sag. It's true. Fate be like, and here comes a giant bear. Loving Gremlin Bluma.
Thanks. I try really hard.
But yes, it was a super cool chapter. Honestly, if I can be completely transparent, the death that was at the shrine, I thought that happened in the next book. Swear to God. So when it started doing that, like, there was a bunch of crows sitting at the donation box, I was like in real life here, I was like, oh no, I thought this was in the next book. Oh no, she's too transparent, I can't see. Yeah, so that was crazy to me. If you had asked me to put money on, like, if that death was in this book or the next one, I would have put it in the next book. I had completely forgot whatever that Rika died like that in this book. Here, I thought Rika would survive. Well, yeah, she doesn't have a good track record. Let's see, we're on the 3rd book, right? Rika has died 2 out of the 3 so far. The only book that we didn't get a confirmed death on was in book 1. Yeah, sorry, Muffin. Rika does die. We won't spoil how. They do... they do take a few hot minutes to explain to us how we find her. So don't worry. Us saying she died will not affect... No worries here at the end of the stream anyways. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah. So that was a good chapter. Good chapter. Also, yeah, that site did say that there are 14 chapters in this one. That was chapter 12. We got 13 and 14 to go. Keep that in mind. Keiichi has wished for the entire town to die except for him, and we have 2 chapters left. How excited are you? I did enjoy seeing my breakfast again after you read it. They did. They took time to explain. It was a god tier chapter. Oh yeah. It was a good one. Yeah. I'm just sorry. Every time we end a chapter, I just kind of sit here and absorb how good of a story this is. Alright. Alright. Let me see what we're doing, because I know we're streaming tomorrow. I know it's at 6 p.m. I just gotta remember what I did. I think it's 5 nights. Which will be quite the whiplash compared to tonight. But you know. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Doing Five Nights at Freddy's 1. We might actually get to play it this time. Every time I've tried to play FNAF 1, I get a migraine and then I have to cancel stream. But you know, here's hoping we get to do it this time. FNAF 1. Yeah. Oh, and I did already take down the schedules. Also at this, I just want to ask. I kind of don't want to make the schedules anymore. I just want to post the video waiting rooms. Is that weird? Is that a dumb decision? Because, like, I don't know. Like, I had to, like, take down all the schedules I had made. Because I realized I can't stream on Friday night. We're having the Halloween party here in the apartment. It would have been the fucking weirdest trying to stream at the Halloween party. Maybe you're cursed by FNAF. Maybe. The curse of FNAF. You don't think so? Shrug? Yeah. I mean, I do it because... Honestly, I started doing it because I saw everyone in Hollow Live did it, and, I don't know. I just assumed you had to do that to stream. But I don't know. So, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Kind of wish I had a shrug for you. I don't know. Anyway. I had to take it down. We're not streaming Friday. I took down the waiting room for that one. You don't mind much. It's true. But yeah, I feel like it was more helpful to anyone who may or may not see it on Twitter and be like, oh, I'll check that out. But yeah, I don't know anymore. I don't know if I'll keep making them or not. I just feel like it causes problems like this where I sheep brain it and like I schedule something and then I end up, and then the next day I'm like, oh shit, I actually can't stream that night. Fuck. We'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It'll be a surprise for us both. It's mostly something that started in popularity because of Ame. Really? Huh. Right, bet. Maybe I won't then. We'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I also see some streamers, like, they only post a schedule, though. Like, when they're gonna do something big, like a game release or something. Or, like, if they're a gacha streamer, they'll be like, hey, he's coming out that night. We're gonna do our polls that night. You know what I mean? I've seen that. So, I don't know. I guess that's something for me to think about. Jesus Christ. So many motorcycles tonight. Yeah. Anyway. I don't know what I was trying to say. Anyway. People tend to watch big streamers as some kind of TV show. Getting home knowing you'll spend this time good, and so on for every week. That makes sense. I get you. That was me getting my medicine. Oh, Jesus. I'm on my way to catch my... What the... Goddamn, guys. Goddamn. But yes. Good chapter. It's kind of hitting me that we only got 2 chapters left of this book. Hold on. All the Higurashi books should be... Okay, I already have the 4th book bought and in my library, so we won't have any issues there. But, like... Hold on. I'm actually curious. Do they have them all on Steam? They would, right? Why wouldn't they? Alright. Higurashi. Oh my god. Okay. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not really the 9th book. I think it's the answer arc. Wow, they're all on sale right now. Anyway. So, I mean, we are set. They do have a good majority of them if they don't have them all. You know, yeah. God damn. So yeah. Hopefully they're all on Steam. But it's like hitting me that like, we are getting through this book, y'all. This is the 3rd book. After we finish the next one, that's like halfway through all the questions at least. We'll have to do something huge when we finish reading them all. Like have a big old party or something. I don't know what we'll do, but I think about that sometimes. It'll be such an accomplishment to get through all the Higurashi books. Oh my god. Also, now you know why I picked this background. It's the bridge he fucking gets yeeted off of. Hopefully. Yeah, I'll, of course, on my half, do the research, but I think Steam has all the books. I think. They're just kind of titled weird after we get through all the questions. Thinking big party. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do something. Something special for finishing all the Higurashi books. But yes. Okay, for reals, I'm gonna wrap it up. Very perceptive. Yeah, you know. Thank you all for coming, hanging out. I'm glad we're all enjoying Higurashi. It is so special to me. Of course, I've said it before, but I really appreciate y'all just letting me indulge like this. Because, like, whenever, like, the visual novel streams were literally just something that I did to, like, be like, alright, you have to try and stream something. And so I'm like, well, what's something I really want to do? Visual novels. Those are boring. Well, that's too bad. So it was Sunday morning, I would just get up, make my coffee, have some whatever, and Sunday morning we would stream visual novels. And that's grown into this. Like, right now there's like, well, my view counter says there's 6 people, but I don't know how many there actually are. But so yeah, I mean, it started with me just at 0 readers reading chapters. So, I appreciate you guys a lot. It means a whole bunch, honestly. Until next time, yeah. Very thoughtful of you to have content for the next few years in advance. Facts. Actually, facts. You are really enjoying it? Aw, good. I'm glad. Yay! Glad you're having fun. Thank you, Jose. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here, too. I'm very glad you all are here. 0, I started to read it with you. It's true. Rusu has been there for a while. But the very, very first visual novel stream was I read a chapter from Hakuoki Edo Blossoms, and I did the Demon Daddy route with, I think, the 0. But Reese's been there for every other visual novel reading. For sure. For sure. The OG. For real. For real, for real. If no one got me, I know Risu got me. Alright, guys. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. Sheep brain. Alright. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you. Next stream, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, Five Nights at Freddy's. Come watch me scream. Maybe, probably not. I will jump, though. I might punch something. If you're not in the next stream, I will see you when I see you. Have a good night, good evening, and goodbye. Bye-bye.